Before diving into the video, did you know that over 80% of you watching right now aren't subscribed? Your one like and one subscribe means the absolute world to this channel and helps us keep going. Hit those buttons real quick and let's get into the video. Chapter 01, The Blurred Boundary. Claire texted me, "Today was really fun. Let's go out just the two of us next time." I replied, "No need, we're not a good match." She asked why. I said, "Your childhood friend is probably more suited to go hiking with you than I am." My name is Lucas. I graduated from the mathematics department of a university at 23 and now work as a core technical data consultant for a company. I earn $50,000 a month with a $5,000 raise every year. I live alone in a 100-meter luxury apartment. I don't lack money, prospects, talent, or looks, but what I lack is a partner who shares the same values as me. I met Claire during a department social event in my second week after joining the company. She sat quietly in the corner with two dimples appearing whenever she smiled. I took the initiative to ask for her WeChat, and she gave it to me without hesitation. During our first date, she was 40 minutes late. Traffic was terrible, she said, but I happened to notice the photo she had just posted on her phone. It was a selfie with the caption, "Waiting for the right person." The location tag showed a milk tea shop in the mall next door. I didn't call her out. I simply smiled and ordered our food. During dinner, she answered a phone call and lowered her voice. "Yeah, I'm eating outside with a regular friend." The word regular made my heart skip a beat, but I thought maybe we had just met and our relationship hadn't reached that point yet, so it was understandable. The second time I invited her hiking, she brought another man along. My childhood friend. He happened to be nearby, so we came together, she said naturally. The guy spent the entire hike with his arm around her shoulders, carrying her bag, and even squeezing her hand when he handed her water. She didn't avoid him. She didn't even think there was anything wrong with it. I walked ahead without saying anything or losing my temper. After we went down the mountain, I treated both of them to a meal. When I got home, she texted me, "Today was really fun. Let's go out just the two of us next time." I replied, "No need. We're not a good match." She asked why. I said, "Your childhood friend is probably more suited to go hiking with you than I am." She immediately got anxious. "He's just my buddy. Aren't you being a little too petty?" "Yes, I am petty." I pressed delete. Chapter 02, The Crowded Roster. At noon in the cafeteria, Vanessa carried her tray and sat across from me. Today she was wearing a low-cut dress with a heavy scent of perfume around her. "Lucas, I want to talk to you." "About what?" "About us." I put down my chopsticks and looked at her. "Vanessa, last week you posted a photo with another guy on your social media. The caption was, 'My personal driver.' He's my cousin. Does your cousin need to wrap his arm around your waist for a photo?" Vanessa's smile froze. "You check my social media?" "No need to check. I was scrolling when you posted it." I picked up my chopsticks again. "I'm a simple person. If you treat someone else the same way you treat me, then I'm not special." "You are special." "Of course you are." Vanessa panicked and reached out to grab my hand. I pulled away. "Special enough that you need to keep 3 backup options at the same time?" Vanessa's face turned red, and everyone around us started looking over. "Lucas, don't accuse me without proof. Your WeChat pinned 3 people. Their nicknames are Baby, Puppy Boy, and Finance Guide." I stood up and picked up my tray. "Vanessa, your bed is already too crowded. I won't take up any space." I turned and walked away. Behind me came the sound of Vanessa smashing her tray. From that day on, rumors about me started spreading around the company. People said I was arrogant, that I was cold-hearted, that I didn't know how to appreciate someone. I ignored all of it. Chapter 03, The Midnight Notification. Elena was 23 years old, a kindergarten teacher, and as gentle as a spring breeze in March. She was never the one to initiate conversations, nor was she overly enthusiastic. Every time I reached out to her, she replied seriously. We talked for a month and met 5 times. Every single time felt comfortable. She never asked me to buy her this or that. She never brought her best friends or childhood friends along, and she never acted ambiguous with other men. I thought I had finally found the right person. On our 15th date, I bought 99 roses and officially confessed my feelings to her. She cried and said yes. She was willing to be my girlfriend. At that moment, I thought everything had finally worked out. We walked out of the flower shop holding hands and went to a nearby restaurant to celebrate. After ordering our food, she got up to use the restroom, leaving her phone on the table. The screen lit up and a WeChat message popped up. There was no need to unlock it. The message was displayed directly on the screen. "Baby, same place tonight. I've got the Okamoto 001 ready for you." Looking at those words, My heartbeat suddenly became calm. She came back and sat down, smiling sweetly. Did you order? Yes. I pushed her phone toward her. Looks like you have a message. She looked down, and her face instantly turned pale. She quickly covered her phone, her lips trembling. Lucas, this was my best friend. She was just joking. Oh. I picked up my glass and took a sip. Does your best friend know you have a date tonight? Of course she does. That's why she deliberately messed with me. She forced out a smile. I smiled too. Your best friend is pretty creative. She even included the brand name. She stopped talking, and tears began falling. Lucas, it's really not what you think. What do you think I think? I asked calmly. She opened her mouth but couldn't say anything. The food arrived. I picked up my chopsticks. Let's eat first. There was no way she could eat. She kept crying and explaining. I finished my entire bowl of rice and packed up her portion as well. Elena, I think we need to seriously reconsider our relationship. She suddenly looked up. What do you mean? Today's decision was too impulsive. Let's continue getting to know each other. You don't believe me? She asked, tears filling her eyes. How can I? I said, I didn't leave just now because I wanted to give you a chance to prove that it was really just a joke from your best friend, but you hesitated. She opened her mouth again, but couldn't say anything. I stood up, paid the bill, and placed the packed food in front of her. Be careful on your way home. I'll leave first. She chased after me and grabbed my arm. Lucas, if you're giving up on me because of this, you're being way too petty. I turned around and looked at her. Elena, whether I'm petty or not doesn't matter. What matters is that message. It really was my best friend. Fine, then give me her WeChat right now. I'll ask her myself. She froze. Tears were still hanging on her face, and her eyes flickered for a moment. That tiny hesitation told me everything. Forget it. I removed her hand from my arm. I wish you happiness. When I got home, I deleted her WeChat chat and blocked her number. She called me from 3 different numbers. I didn't answer a single one. The next day, she waited for me outside the company building, her eyes swollen from crying. Lucas, I admit it. That message wasn't sent by my best friend. I looked at her without saying anything. It was my ex-boyfriend. We broke up 6 months ago, but he still refuses to let go. That day, he secretly sent it while I was in the restroom. So, you're the victim? I asked. Yes, I really did nothing wrong. Then why didn't you tell me the truth right away? She fell silent again. Because you were afraid I'd get angry, so you chose to lie. I looked at her. Elena, the problem isn't that message. The problem is how you reacted. She cried and begged me to give her another chance. I shook my head. I already gave you a chance at the restaurant. I asked you to give me your best friend's WeChat, and you hesitated. She collapsed onto the ground, and I walked away in long strides. Chapter 04. The Lingering Shadow. I met Megan at the gym. She was a yoga instructor with an unbelievable figure. She added me on WeChat first and sent me workout advice every day. She was very professional. I said I wanted to treat her to dinner as a thank you, and she agreed. Halfway through the meal, her phone rang. The screen showed husband. She glanced at it, didn't answer, and pressed it away. My ex-boyfriend. He keeps bothering me, she explained. I didn't ask any more questions, but I made a note of it in my mind. When we met again, she asked me, what do you think is the most important thing between 2 people? Trust, honesty, and respect, I answered. She nodded. I think so too. That night, she texted me saying she liked me and wanted to be with me. I replied, handle things with your ex-boyfriend first. She promised, we're really over. He's just the one who refuses to let go. I believed her, and we officially started dating. On the 7th day of our relationship, I found a pair of men's slippers at her place. My brothers, she said. I didn't expose her. I quietly kept observing. On the 10th day, she received a phone call and walked onto the balcony to answer it. Her voice was very low. The living room was completely quiet, but I still heard a few words. Stop making trouble. I'll handle it. Just give me a little more time. She hung up and came back smiling. My mom is rushing me to get married. I smiled too. Your mom's voice sounds pretty young. Her face instantly turned pale. That night, I went back to my own place and sent her a message. Megan, I have no right to be involved with your slippers or your phone calls. Let's end this here. She called more than 10 times. I didn't answer a single one. She sent me a long voice message crying and saying that man really was just bothering her and that she hadn't done anything wrong. I replied with one sentence. You didn't do anything, but you didn't reject him either. That's the problem. Chapter 05. The Unreasonable Demand. I met Lauren through a blind date arranged by my mother. She was an elementary school teacher, 26 years old. She wasn't particularly beautiful, but she seemed down to earth and reliable. During our first meeting, she was 5 minutes late and sincerely apologized. While eating, she suggested splitting the bill, saying she didn't want to take advantage of me. I thought to myself, finally, I've met someone normal. During our second meeting, we talked about the future. She said, I'm a very practical person. There are some things I need to make clear beforehand. Go ahead. I'm listening carefully. I don't want children. I'm afraid of the pain, and I'm afraid my body will change. I said, that's your choice. I respect it. She visibly relaxed. Then can you get a vasectomy? That way neither of us has to worry in the future. I froze. A vasectomy? Yes. I looked it up. It doesn't have much impact on a man's body. She looked at me seriously. I put down my chopsticks. You don't want children, so you want me to get a vasectomy? We're together now. Of course we should share the responsibility, she said, as if it were obvious. I laughed. But I haven't even decided whether I want children or not. What gives you the right to decide for me? Her expression changed. You're just selfish. You're unwilling to sacrifice for me. Yes, I'm selfish. I stood up and paid the bill. This meal is on me. Goodbye. She chased after me, calling me a jerk and saying I wasn't even willing to make such a small sacrifice. I didn't even turn around. A month later, she had someone pass along a message saying she was willing to discuss it and that I didn't need to get a vasectomy anymore. My mother even called to persuade me. The girl has already compromised. Why don't you give it another try? I said, Mom, she didn't compromise. She just failed to find someone else to replace me. Chapter 06. The Price of Entitlement. Scarlett was the most enthusiastic girl I had ever met. On the first day after adding me on WeChat, she called me baby. On the second day, she said she missed me. On the third day, she sent me 20 messages, averaging one every 15 minutes. I felt a little overwhelmed, but I still replied politely. On the fourth day, when we met, she hooked her arm around mine and practically clung to me the whole time. When the waiter glanced at her while serving the food, she immediately glared back. What are you looking at? I frowned, but said nothing. During the meal, she kept taking pictures of the dishes, me and herself, saying she wanted to post them online. Let everyone know I have a boyfriend. She smiled brightly. I corrected her. We're only getting to know each other right now. We haven't officially started dating. Oh, come on. It's only a matter of time. She didn't take it seriously. After dinner, she dragged me shopping. Pointing at a dress, she said, This one looks good. Buy it for me. The price wasn't cheap. It was over $30,000. I didn't take out my wallet. We're not close enough for that yet, I said calmly. Her expression froze. You won't even spend $30,000 on me? It's not about the money, I said. It's about whether we've reached that point. She turned around angrily and left. That night, she posted something on her social media. Some men make $50,000 a month, so what? They're still unbelievably stingy. I didn't explain myself. I deleted her directly. The next day, she called to apologize, saying she acted impulsively. I said, It's fine, but we're not suitable for each other. She called me cold-blooded and said someone like me didn't deserve to have a girlfriend. Maybe she was right. I would rather be undeserving than force myself to settle. Chapter 07. The Heiress's Terms. Diana was a wealthy heiress introduced by a friend. Her family owned a company, and she drove a Porsche. During our first dinner, she insisted on paying. I can afford it. I was a little surprised, but I let her pay. The second time, she invited me to an exhibition. After we finished looking around, she said, Want to come over to my place? I thought about it and agreed. Her house was huge, over 200 square meters, and decorated like a luxury showroom. She poured me a glass of red wine, handed it to me, and sat very close beside me. Lucas, I like you, she confessed directly. Before I could respond, she continued, But I have conditions. Go ahead. After we get married, you'll live in my house. The property belongs to me, and I won't add your name. Okay, I said. I never plan to take advantage of you, but you have to hand over your salary. I'll give you an allowance every month. How much? $5,000, she said confidently. I'll manage the rest of your money. After all, you'll be living in my house. I laughed. Then what do I get out of this? Me. She smiled confidently. I have money, looks, and a great figure. You won't lose out. I stood up. Miss Diana, you're a great person, but we're not suitable. She froze. Are you crazy? Do you know how many people want to marry me, and I reject them all? So, I appreciate that you think highly of me. I picked up my coat, but I still want to manage my own money. She angrily smashed the wine glass onto the floor. As I closed the door, I heard her curse. Such a poor loser. I walked out of the neighborhood and took a deep breath. Chapter 08. Half-Truths. I met Rachel at an industry conference. She was a data analyst from another company. She wore black-rimmed glasses and spoke softly. We spent half an hour discussing algorithm models. She was professional, logical, and clear-minded. I took the initiative to add her on WeChat. Over the next 2 weeks, we talked about work every night and occasionally chatted about life. She never started conversations first, but whenever she replied, she was always serious. I thought she was a good person, so I asked her out for dinner that weekend. She agreed. That night, I arrived at the restaurant 10 minutes early. She showed up right on time, wearing a white shirt with her hair tied into a low ponytail. Have you been waiting long? Not at all. I just got here. I pulled out her chair for her. After ordering, she suddenly said, Lucas, I want to ask you something. Go ahead. Why have you been single for so long? I looked at her and thought for a moment. Because I haven't met the right person. What kind of person is the right one? Someone sincere. She paused for a moment and smiled. What's your definition of sincerity? Not lying, not hiding things, not acting ambiguous, not dating two people at the same time. She picked up her glass, took a sip of water, and put it down. Then what would you do if you found out the other person had lied to you? I'd end it immediately. Turn around and leave. I would never stay. She lowered her head and was silent for a few seconds. Lucas, there's something I need to tell you. Tell me. I've been married before. My heart moved slightly, but I kept my expression calm. And then, no children, no property disputes. We've been divorced for half a year. She raised her head and looked into my eyes. My ex-husband cheated on me. I was the one who filed for divorce. You asked why I had been single for so long. The truth is it's because I hadn't been divorced for very long. When we talked before, I didn't mention it because I didn't want you to judge me from the beginning. But now I feel that if I don't tell you, then I would be deceiving you. I looked at her and stayed silent for a few seconds. Thank you for telling me. Then are you still willing to keep getting to know me? Her voice sounded a little nervous. Yes, I nodded. Because you chose to tell me yourself. That's what sincerity means. Her eyes lit up. That dinner was wonderful. We talked about many things. The reason for her divorce, her hopes for the future, and her attitude toward relationships. She said she no longer wanted a man who only knew how to say sweet things. She wanted someone steady and reliable. I said, I'm a stubborn person. Once I decide on someone, I'll give them my whole heart. She smiled. It was a sincere smile. Over the next month, we met 6 times and exchanged hundreds of messages. I even started to think that maybe this time it could really work. Until that night, I drove her home, and when we arrived downstairs, I saw a man. He was leaning against her car door holding a bouquet of flowers. Rachel's face instantly turned pale. Your ex-husband? Yeah. She nodded, her voice tense. He said he came to give me flowers. I didn't ask him to come. The man saw us and walked over, handing the flowers to Rachel. Rachel, let's get back together. I've changed, I really have. Leave. I don't want to see you. Rachel didn't take the flowers. Instead, she stepped behind me. The man looked at me and sneered. So this is the new guy you found? He looks pretty good, but I wonder if he's also like me. Shut up. Rachel shouted, tears falling from her eyes. Did you ever think about today when you were cheating on me? I was wrong. I really know I was wrong. The man dropped to one knee. Give me one chance, just one. I stepped aside and looked at Rachel. You handle it. I'll wait in the car. I turned around and walked toward my car without looking back. Chapter 09. The Safety Net. In the rearview mirror, I could see Rachel arguing with that man. 10 minutes later, she got into my car, her eyes red from crying. Sorry, I must have made you see something embarrassing. It's fine. Did you handle it? Yes. I told him not to come again. She sniffed. Lucas, you won't stop talking to me because of this, will you? No, because this isn't your fault. I started the car. But if you had hidden it from me, that would be a different story. She nodded and leaned back against the seat. After that day, the man showed up twice more. Every time, Rachel drove him away right in front of me with a firm attitude. I thought the matter was finally over. Until one day, I accidentally saw her phone. A WeChat message popped up on the screen. The contact name was ex-husband. Rachel, I missed you last night. Don't you miss me too? I put her phone down and waited for her to come out of the restroom. Rachel, are you still in contact with your ex-husband? Her smile froze. He was the one who contacted me. I ignored him. This message was sent last night. Did you reply? I didn't. She took her phone and opened it for me. The chat history was empty. There was only that one message from her ex-husband. You deleted the previous conversations? I asked. She fell silent. Rachel, what did you delete? I just didn't want you to misunderstand. So you chose to delete the messages and lie to me? My voice remained calm, but my heart was already starting to grow cold. I wasn't lying to you. I just didn't want you to overthink. She became anxious and grabbed my hand. He did contact me a few times, but I rejected him every time. Then why did you delete the messages? Why didn't you tell me the moment he contacted you? Because I wasn't sure whether we would make it to the end, so I wanted to keep a way out. Halfway through her sentence, she covered her mouth. I pulled my hand away. A way out. That's not what I meant. I mean, you don't need to explain anymore. I stood up and picked up my coat. Lucas, don't leave. She grabbed the edge of my clothes. I'll delete him right now. I'll do it right now. You should have done that a long time ago. I looked at her. Rachel, you said you hated your ex-husband because he cheated on you, but how is what you're doing any different from him? I didn't cheat. You kept an emotional backup plan. That hurts more than cheating. She cried. She cried terribly. I didn't look back. When I got home, I deleted all of her contact information. Lying on my bed, I stared at the ceiling. This relationship lasted 20 days, and it ended not because of her ex-husband's appearance, but because she wasn't honest with me. I can accept someone's past, but I cannot accept someone deceiving me in the present. That is my bottom line. Chapter 10, Clear Eyes. Before I knew it, for years had passed, and every woman I met seemed better at pretending than the last. Claire's ambiguous behavior, Vanessa's lies, Rachel's half-hearted honesty, Lauren's selfishness, Scarlett's snobbery, Diana's controlling nature, Megan's concealment, Elena's deception. Each one made me doubt the word love more and more. But I never gave up. I simply became more careful. What belonged to me I would cherish. What didn't, I would never cling to. I believed that somewhere in this world there had to be someone just like me, someone who held on to their principles and waited for genuine feelings. It was winter the year I turned 27. That afternoon, I walked out of the company building planning to grab lunch. A girl was standing at the entrance. She wore a light blue shirt and dark-colored pants, holding a book in her hands. Her head was lowered as she read carefully, her brows slightly furrowed. I didn't pay much attention and walked past her. After taking 3 steps, I stopped. I didn't know why, but I turned around and looked back. At that exact moment, she raised her head and our eyes met. Her eyes were as clear as a mountain spring. There was no impurity, no hidden intention. She was simply looking at the world quietly. My heartbeat skipped. Hello. I walked back toward her and stopped in front of her. She froze for a moment and took half a step back. My name is Lucas. I'm a technical consultant at this company. I pointed at my employee badge. I think you're beautiful, and I'd like to get to know you. Is that okay? Her face instantly turned red, and the book almost slipped from her hands. She became flustered, looking left and right as if searching for an escape route. I don't mean any harm. I just genuinely want to get to know you. I smiled and stepped back, keeping a polite distance. If you don't want to, I'll leave right now. I won't bother you. At that moment, several people walked out of the company building. Among them were a few women I had interacted with before. When they saw this scene, they stopped. Some curled their lips in disdain. Some sneered. Some even took out their phones to take pictures. I ignored them. I only looked at the girl in front of me. She hesitated for a long time before finally speaking. Then, should we add each other on WeChat? I smiled, took out my phone, and opened my QR code. She scanned it and added me. Her note was Hannah. Thank you for giving me a chance, I said. We'll talk later. Goodbye. I turned around and walked away with steady steps, never looking back. Behind me, I heard those women whispering. Lucas is flirting with another girl again. How many times has he done that? When did any of them ever work out? Why pretend to be so devoted? Isn't he just a player? Chapter 11. Slow and Steady. That night at 7 o'clock, I sent the first message. Hello, I'm Lucas. We added each other on WeChat today. Have you had dinner yet? After I sent it, I waited for a long time. About half an hour later, she finally replied with one word. Yeah. I smiled and asked again. What should I call you? This time I waited even longer, almost an hour. Hannah. It was a very ordinary name, just like her. She wasn't flashy or trying to stand out. I'm glad to meet you. I know I was a little sudden today, but if I hadn't asked, then we might never have had the chance to know each other. Sorry if I disturbed you. She replied with a smiling emoji. Just a smiling emoji, no extra words, no enthusiasm, but no coldness either. It felt polite, yet also like she was cautiously testing the waters. I didn't push further or continue chatting. I simply replied, "Rest early, good night." She replied, "Good night." Over the following days, we kept in touch in a calm and natural way. 3 messages on the first day, 5 messages on the second. Not too much, not rushed. I didn't ask where she was or what she was doing. I didn't check up on her or interrogate her. She never asked how much I earned, how big my apartment was, or what car I drove. Sometimes I sent her a picture of my lunch. She would reply, "Looks pretty good." Sometimes she sent me a picture of clouds along the road. I would say, "The weather is really nice today." No flirting, no cheesy lines, just 2 normal people slowly getting closer. Half a month later, our conversations gradually became longer. She told me she studied accounting at a nearby vocational college and would graduate next year. Her parents farmed back in her hometown, and she had a younger brother still in high school. She said she had never been in a relationship, not because nobody pursued her, but because she was afraid. "Why are you afraid?" I asked. "I'm afraid of meeting the wrong person," she said. "My mom says the outside world is complicated." I smiled. "Your mom is right. It really is complicated." A month later, I invited her to dinner. She hesitated for a long time before finally agreeing. At 6:30 p.m. on Saturday evening, I booked a restaurant on the top floor of a building. Not a private room, just a table in the main dining area. A private room for a first date would feel too pressuring for a girl. I arrived 10 minutes early and waited for her. She was 5 minutes late, running over while slightly out of breath, her hair messy from the wind. "Sorry, I got on the wrong bus." Her face was full of apology. "It's okay. I just arrived too." I pulled out her chair. "Sit down." She sat down, placed her bag on her lap, and looked very nervous. The waiter handed us the menu. I pushed it toward her. "Take a look and order whatever you like." She flipped through it. When she saw the prices, her eyes widened. This place is really expensive," she said quietly. "It's okay. I'm treating you." I smiled reassuringly. "It's too expensive. Should we go somewhere else?" She looked at me seriously. My heart moved slightly. I made a note of it. After 4 years, she was the first girl who had suggested going somewhere cheaper. "Let's stay here. It's only once in a while." I smiled. "Order whatever you like. Don't look at the price." She was still conflicted for a long time. In the end, she ordered the cheapest set meal. I added a few signature dishes. She didn't stop me. She only quietly said, "That's too much." While waiting for the food, I started a conversation. "What do you usually like to do?" "Nothing special. I just read books and walk around parks," she answered honestly. "What kind of books?" "I'm reading The Ordinary World recently." I haven't finished it yet. I was a little surprised. Not many young people read that book anymore. "Is it good?" "Yes." Her eyes lit up. "Sun Xiaoping is really amazing. He went through so much hardship but still kept going." We talked about books. We talked about our dreams. We talked about our plans for the future. She gradually became more talkative. The nervousness on her face slowly disappeared. When she smiled, her eyes became even brighter. The food arrived. She ate slowly, savoring every bite. Halfway through the meal, she suddenly stopped and looked at me. "Lucas, why did you add me on WeChat?" She had held this question in for a month and finally asked it. "Because I had that feeling of falling for someone at first sight," I answered. She froze for a moment, then blushed. "Just because of that?" "Just because of that." She lowered her head, moving her chopsticks around in her bowl. "Have you said this to many girls before?" "No. You're the first." She looked up at me as if trying to figure out whether I was telling the truth. I looked back at her. My eyes didn't avoid hers. Chapter 12. Past Interruption. Just then, 2 people walked into the restaurant, a man and a woman. The woman was wearing high heels and a dress with heavy makeup on her face. I recognized her immediately. Megan, the yoga instructor whose ex-boyfriend had kept bothering her. Megan saw me too. She stopped walking, her eyes scanning over our table. Then she pulled the man beside her over and sat down right next to me. She placed her hand on my shoulder and smiled mockingly. "Lucas, you're something else. Weren't you trying to date me before? And now you've already moved on to someone new? You really are a player." Hannah's face instantly turned pale. I knocked Megan's hand away and looked at her expressionlessly. "Megan, what exactly are you trying to do?" "I'm just curious how you explained our story to your new girl." She raised her eyebrows. "What story do we have?" I stood up. My voice wasn't loud, but it was clear. I won't deny that I wanted to date you before, because I thought we had a good first impression. But after meeting twice, having one meal together, and going hiking once, I realized we weren't suitable for each other. After that, we kept our distance. What exactly is the problem with that? Megan sneered. You wanted to dump me after only 2 meetings? Do you think I'm trash? I never treated you like trash. I looked at her calmly. I just think we're not compatible. Did I ever do anything to you? I didn't even hold your hand, let alone anything else. I don't have a girlfriend, and I haven't officially been in a relationship. It's completely normal to have feelings for someone. It's also normal not to continue something that isn't right. I hope you can at least keep your dignity. Megan opened her mouth but couldn't say anything. Her male companion stepped forward and pointed at me. What the hell are you? How dare you talk to my girlfriend like that? I looked at him. Who are you? I'm her boyfriend. I smiled. Perfect. Then you should know that 3 months ago, your girlfriend was still telling me she was single. You'd better keep an eye on her. The man froze and turned to look at Megan. Megan's face went pale, then red, then pale again. The man cursed angrily for a few moments, grabbed Megan, and hurried away with her. Chapter 13. The Tiny Planet. The restaurant was quiet for a few seconds before the noise returned. Hannah lowered her head, her chopsticks resting on the table completely still. I knew what she was thinking. Hannah. I sat back down. She didn't look up. The girl just now was someone I knew before. We met twice. The first time was for dinner, and the second time was hiking. During that hike, she received a call from her ex-boyfriend. She lied to me and said it was her mother. When I realized she hadn't properly ended her previous relationship, I politely stepped away. From beginning to end, I never touched her, and I never said anything flirtatious to her. We weren't even officially boyfriend and girlfriend. Hannah finally raised her head. Her eyes were slightly red. How? How can you prove it? Her voice was trembling. I can't prove it, I said. But you can choose whether to believe me or not. She bit her lip. You were so cold toward her. Does that mean you would treat me the same way? It's not being cold-hearted. I looked at her. It's taking responsibility for my own life. What do you mean? I put down my chopsticks and looked at her seriously. I want a girlfriend, but not just anyone. During a relationship, I'll carefully decide whether someone is truly suitable for me before moving forward. I won't blindly settle or compromise. If 2 people don't share the same values, how can they build something together? I take relationships seriously, and I genuinely want to build something sincere with someone. She remained silent for a long time. Then what is your standard? It's simple, I said. You truly put me first in your heart, and I truly put you first in mine. Not saying you love me while secretly keeping someone else in your heart. Not being with me while still keeping unclear relationships with other people. Love isn't one person constantly giving. It's something 2 people build together. After hearing that, she didn't speak for a long time. Then she picked up her chopsticks and continued eating. The tension in my heart finally disappeared. That night, I walked her back to school. At the school gate, she suddenly stopped. Lucas, I believe you. After saying that, she ran away without looking back. I stood there watching her figure disappear into the night, the corners of my mouth unconsciously lifted. From then on, our relationship slowly grew closer. I wasn't in a hurry. Neither was she. Every day we chatted a little. Every weekend we met once. Everything moved naturally and slowly. I took her to the library. She took me to walk around parks. I treated her to dinner. She bought me milk tea. Everything was just like what ordinary couples did, but I knew we still weren't a couple because I hadn't confessed yet and she hadn't officially accepted me. Until one day, we watched a movie together. Afterward, we walked down the street. Suddenly, she grabbed my sleeve. Lucas, why haven't you confessed to me? I lowered my head and looked at her. Because I'm waiting for you to think it through. Think through what? Whether you can truly put me first. She stopped walking and looked up at me. What about you? Can you do it? Yes, I answered. That's the foundation of a healthy relationship and also the foundation of a strong marriage. She smiled, her eyes curved like crescent moons. Then I can. Can what? I can put you first. Her face turned red again. I took a deep breath and pulled a small box out of my pocket. Inside was a silver necklace. The pendant was a tiny planet. Hannah, will you be my girlfriend? She looked at the necklace. Then tears suddenly fell from her eyes. How did you know I like planets? The first post on your social media was a shared article from an astronomy enthusiast. She cried even harder, but there was still a smile on her lips. Okay. I helped her put on the necklace. She stood on tiptoe and gently kissed my cheek. At that moment, I felt that 4 years of waiting had all been worth it. Chapter 14. Unshakable Trust. However, 3 months after we started dating, I went to her school to pick her up for the first time. At the school entrance, I saw something I never expected. Hannah was standing with a guy. The guy was holding a bouquet of flowers. She didn't accept them. Instead, she took 2 steps back and kept a distance between them. I stood there from afar and didn't walk over. When she saw me, her expression changed and she quickly ran toward me. Lucas, that's my classmate. He insisted on giving me flowers, but I didn't take them. I know, I said. I saw that you didn't accept them. You're not angry? You didn't accept them. Why would I be angry? She let out a sigh of relief and held onto my arm. When the guy saw this, his face turned extremely ugly, and he turned around and left. How long has he been pursuing you? I asked. About 5 months, I guess, she said. I never agreed. Why not? Because he had also confessed to my desk mate before and given her flowers. That sentence instantly made me feel relieved. Will he keep looking for you in the future? She thought for a moment. Probably, but I won't pay attention to him anymore. Okay, I said. A week later, I saw that guy again at the school entrance. This time, he wasn't holding flowers. He stood in front of Hannah, looking extremely emotional. I walked closer and heard him say, "How can you be so heartless? I've waited for you for so long." Hannah took a step back. "I have a boyfriend. Stop looking for me. That Lucas, what's so good about him? Isn't he just making more money than me?" "He's more sincere than you," Hannah replied. The guy sneered. "Sincere? Do you know how many girls he was ambiguous with before?" "I know." Hannah's voice was calm. "He told me everything." The guy froze. "He told me everything about his past before meeting me." Hannah looked straight into his eyes. "He didn't hide anything. He didn't lie to me. That's exactly what makes him better than you." The guy had nothing to say. He turned around and left. I stood behind a tree feeling something I couldn't describe. It was the first time someone had defended me like that. Hannah turned around and saw me. She was startled. "When did you get here?" "Just now." "Did you hear everything?" "I did." She looked a little embarrassed. "You don't think I was too harsh, do you?" "No." I walked over and held her hand. "I think you were amazing." Chapter 15. The Mother's Approval. After dating for a year, I decided to bring her home to meet my parents. My mother asked over the phone beforehand, "Is this one serious?" "Very serious." "Are you sure there won't be any problems?" "I'm sure." "Lucas, you've said 'I'm sure' 4 times now. You said the same thing about the previous 4. This time is different." "How is it different?" "This time, she hasn't lied to me." My mother fell silent. Then she said, "Bring her home." On the day we met, Hannah was extremely nervous. She changed outfits several times before finally choosing a clean floral dress. She bought many gifts, fruit, supplements, tea leaves. She had almost spent half a month's living expenses. I told her I would buy them instead. She refused. This is my sincerity. When we arrived at my home, my mother looked her up and down. Her expression was calm. "Sit down." Hannah sat nervously and placed the gifts aside. My mother poured her a glass of water and got straight to the point. "Girl, my son has dated quite a few people before, but none of them worked out. Do you know why?" Hannah nodded. "I know. Because he has high standards." "It's not because his standards are high," my mother said. "It's because he has firm principles. He can't stand fake feelings." "Annie, I know." Hannah raised her head. "I won't lie to him." "You won't now. What about in the future?" "I won't in the future either," Hannah looked at me. "Because I truly love him." My mother looked at her for a long time. Then she turned to me. "Have you made your decision?" "Yes." "Are you sure you won't regret it?" "I won't." My mother stood up and walked into the kitchen. During dinner, she kept putting food onto Hannah's plate. When we left, my mother walked her to the door and said, "Girl, my son has a stubborn personality. Please be patient with him. If he ever bullies you, tell me. I'll deal with him." Hannah's eyes turned red. She nodded. On the way back, she didn't say a word. "What's wrong?" "Your mom is really kind," she choked up. I smiled. "You're afraid of her when she gets angry too?" "I'm not afraid." She wiped away her tears. "Because she's genuinely kind to me." Chapter 16. The Soda Can Tab. A year and a half into our relationship, Hannah graduated. She found a job as an accountant. The salary wasn't high, but it was stable. We rented a small 2-bedroom apartment. It was close to her company and not far from mine either. I paid the rent and covered our living expenses. She saved her own salary. She disagreed. "That's not fair." I said, "Help out when your salary gets higher." She replied, "Then I'll have to get a raise quickly." I said, "No rush, take your time." She rolled her eyes at me. You're not in a hurry, but I am. I don't want people saying I'm only with you because you have money. I burst out laughing. After living together, I discovered she had quite a few little habits. She squeezed toothpaste from the middle. She left clothes piled on chairs instead of hanging them up. And after taking a shower, she left water all over the floor. I never criticized her. I simply started squeezing the toothpaste from the bottom. I hung up her clothes for her, and I dried the bathroom floor after her showers. When she noticed, she looked embarrassed. I'll change. No need, I said. These are just small things. I can do them easily. She looked at me. Do you think I'm messy? No, I said. You just haven't built the habit yet. After that, she started paying attention. She squeezed toothpaste from the bottom. She hung her clothes in the closet, and she mopped the floor herself after showering. I told her she didn't have to do that. She said, You're good to me. I should be good to you too. 2 years into our relationship, I took her back to my hometown for New Year's. During the family reunion dinner, I proposed to her in front of everyone. Hannah, marry me. She froze. Then she burst into tears. You didn't even prepare a ring. I took a soda can tab out of my pocket. Use this for now. I'll replace it with a real one later. She laughed through her tears and punched me lightly on the chest. Do you think I'm that easy to fool? No. I looked at her seriously. I think you're someone who would never look down on me for it. She raised her hand and let me put the tab around her finger. I accept. Everyone in the family laughed, and my mother secretly wiped away her tears. Chapter 17. Genuine Confessions. That night after we returned to our room, she asked me, Do you really not mind that I'm poor, or that my education level isn't as high as yours? You're poor and I'm rich. That balances things out. I said, You have a lower education level, and I have a higher one. That balances things too. What kind of twisted logic is that? It's not twisted logic. I pulled her into my arms. When two people are together, it's not about matching conditions. It's about matching hearts. She rested against my chest and stayed quiet for a long time. Lucas, there's something I need to tell you. What is it? She sat up and looked at me seriously. Actually, I don't even know if that counts as a relationship. My heart moved slightly, but I kept my expression unchanged. Didn't you say you had never dated anyone before? I lied to you. Tears fell from her eyes. I had a crush on a classmate in high school, and then later he found out and started approaching me. Not long after, he confessed. We were technically together. She paused. But less than a week later, he asked to sleep with me. I was scared, so I ran away. So I don't even know whether that 1 week really counts as a relationship. I stayed silent for a while. Does that guy still have any place in your heart? She suddenly looked up. Her eyes flashed with pain, as if she had been burned by the question. No. She shook her head. We were together for less than a week, and he already made that kind of request. That was when I realized he didn't like me. He just thought I was someone easy to take advantage of. She looked at me. After I left, I never looked back at him again. I reached out and wiped away her tears. That's all. She froze. You're not angry? Why would I be angry? Because I lied to you. You told me yourself, I said. That means you care about me and were afraid of losing me. She looked at me, tears still falling. I forgive you. I smiled and pinched her cheek gently. She threw herself into my arms and cried even harder. Lucas, why are you so good to me? Because you're good, and that's why I can be good too, I said. That night, she told me that during that 1 week, they had only held hands twice. The guy wanted to go further. She refused, so she ran away. He said I didn't love him, otherwise I wouldn't have refused. You didn't refuse because you didn't love him, I said. You refused because you had principles. She hugged me tightly. Luckily, I protected my boundaries back then. Otherwise, I wouldn't have been worthy of standing in front of you now. It's not about being unworthy of me, I said. It's about being unable to face yourself. Keeping your boundaries isn't for someone else. It's for yourself. She nodded. Our wedding was scheduled for the autumn after 2 years of dating. 3 nights before the wedding, I received a call from an unknown number. Lucas, do you remember me? The voice sounded familiar, but I couldn't remember at first. I'm Elena. It turned out to be the kindergarten teacher. I was silent for a moment. I remember. Is something wrong? Nothing. I just heard you're getting married. Congratulations. Thank you. She hesitated. Can you tell me if you're happy now? I'm very happy. That's good, she sighed. I was wrong back then. I shouldn't have lied to you. Over these years, after going around in circles, when I look back, you were the only person who sincerely wanted to be with me. It's a shame that it's in the past. Yeah, it's in the past. She paused. I wish you and her a lifetime of happiness together. Thank you. After hanging up, Hannah asked me, who was that? Someone who isn't really a friend, just a stranger from the past. A woman. Yeah. She looked at me, but she didn't ask anything else. Chapter 18. Peaceful Presence. At the wedding, the officiant asked Hannah, do you, Hannah, take Lucas to be your husband? She looked into my eyes and said, I do. The officiant continued, whether in poverty or wealth, in sickness or health, will you stay by his side? She answered seriously, I don't care about poverty, and I'm not afraid of sickness. The only thing I care about is whether he will always be sincere with me. The guests burst into laughter. The officiant turned to me. Lucas, do you take Hannah to be your wife? I looked into her clear eyes and remembered the first time we met. The nervous girl who didn't know what to do, the girl who defended me, the girl who changed her habits for me, the girl who chose to tell me her past. I do, I said. No matter what happens, will you always choose her? I looked into her eyes. As long as she continues to place me in the most important and cherished position in her heart besides herself, I will choose her for the rest of my life. Hannah's tears fell again. During the ring exchange, I placed the real diamond ring on her finger. She looked at it and smiled. Actually, that soda can tab was pretty good too. We'll keep that one as well, I said. When we're old, we can take it out and look at it. It'll be a great memory. After the wedding ended and all the guests left, Hannah and I sat in the empty banquet hall holding hands. Lucas, do you think we'll always stay like this? Like what? Like this. You trust me and I trust you. We will, I said, because neither of us is foolish. We both know the other person is worth cherishing. She leaned against my shoulder and closed her eyes. I gently kissed her forehead. Outside the window, fireworks were exploding, colorful lights reflecting on the glass. I thought of the 23-year-old me 6 years ago. I thought of those ambiguous, dishonest, selfish, and materialistic people who had passed through my life. I thought of those relationships that ended without results. I thought of those moments when I chose to turn around and leave. Many people said I was too picky, that my standards were too high, that there was no such thing as a perfect person in this world, and no relationship could ever be completely honest. But I didn't agree. I wasn't looking for a perfect person. I was looking for someone sincere. I wasn't looking for someone without a past. I was looking for someone brave enough to face their past. I wasn't looking for someone who never made mistakes. I was looking for someone who was willing to admit them after making mistakes. Love isn't about finding a perfect person. It's about learning to see an imperfect but sincere person through the eyes of love. Hannah wasn't perfect. She had lied before. She had hesitated. She had been afraid. But in the end, she chose honesty. She chose openness. She chose me, and that was enough. In the second year after our marriage, we had a daughter. She asked me what name I wanted to give our child. I said, Grace. Why? Because her mother makes me feel at peace. I hope that one day she can also bring peace to the person she loves. Hannah smiled, but tears fell from her eyes. Why do you always make me cry? Because you're the one who always cries. I wiped away her tears. But it's only when you cry that I know how much you truly care. On the day our daughter turned 1 month old, Hannah and I sat on the balcony. She suddenly asked me, Lucas, have you ever regretted it? Regretted what? Regretted rejecting so many people all those years. No, I said, because I've always known what I wanted. Moonlight fell across her face. Those eyes were still as clear as they were when we first met. What belongs to me, I will cherish. What doesn't belong to me, I will never hold on to. The rarest thing in this world has never been falling in love at first sight. It has always been finding peace in someone's presence. Chapter 19. The New Home. When Grace turned 3 years old, we bought our first house together in a quiet neighborhood surrounded by maple trees and green parks. It had 3 bedrooms, a large sunny balcony, and a study lined with bookshelves from the floor to the ceiling. On the day the property deed arrived, Hannah sat at the dining table staring at the document. My name and her name were printed side by side in neat, bold letters. Her fingers gently traced the paper, her eyes growing misty. Lucas, you put my name on the house, she said softly, her voice carrying that familiar vulnerability from years ago. I sat beside her and poured her a cup of warm tea. Of course I did. This isn't just my house. It's our home. A lot of people say that property should be kept separate, she said, looking straight into my eyes, especially when one person earns more than the other. Those people are protecting their exit strategies, I said with a slight smile. I don't need an exit strategy with you. When 2 people are truly sincere, What belongs to one naturally belongs to the other. She wiped a tear from the corner of her eye, laughed softly, and bumped her forehead against my shoulder. You always have a logical answer for everything. Only when it comes to the truth, I answered, wrapping my arm around her waist. That evening, as the sun dipped below the skyline and painted the living room in warm shades of amber, Grace wobbled across the wooden floor carrying a picture book. She climbed into Hannah's lap, pointing at the illustrations and babbling happily. My mother arrived an hour later carrying homemade braised pork and fresh dumplings. Over the years, the initial sternness on my mother's face had completely softened whenever she was around Hannah. "Girl, did Lucas give you any trouble this week?" my mother asked as she set the containers on the kitchen counter. Hannah smiled brightly, her dimples showing. "Not at all. Mom, I mean. He even remembered to squeeze the toothpaste from the bottom." My mother laughed heartily, patting Hannah's hand. "Good. If he ever forgets his manners, you let me know." Watching the 3 generations of my family sitting together under the warm light of the chandelier, I felt a deep sense of settled quietness in my chest. The chaos, calculated games, and empty pretenses of my 20s had completely faded away, replaced by the simple, enduring beauty of everyday peace. Chapter 20. Full Circle. 5 years into our marriage, our data consulting firm hosted a large 10th anniversary gala at a downtown hotel. Because my team had delivered several critical projects that year, I was awarded the company's highest recognition for technical leadership. I brought Hannah with me. She wore an elegant, understated navy evening gown, her hair swept up in a loose bun, wearing the small silver planet pendant I had given her on the day we officially became a couple. She didn't wear excessive jewelry or heavy makeup. Yet among the crowd of lavish outfits and glittering dresses, her quiet grace and clear eyes drew respectful glances from everyone in the room. During the cocktail reception before dinner, several colleagues came over to congratulate us. Among the crowd were a few familiar faces from the past. Colleagues who had once whispered in the lobby, and even Vanessa, who was standing a few feet away with a group from marketing. Vanessa looked over, her expression complicated and hesitant. When our eyes met, she offered a stiff, awkward nod before looking down and quietly slipping into the crowd. There was no anger in my heart, no desire to boast or gloat. Those people were simply passengers who had missed their stop long ago. Later that evening, after the speeches concluded, Hannah and I stepped out onto the hotel terrace to catch some fresh air. A gentle autumn breeze rustled the leaves below, and the city lights stretched out like a galaxy beneath the dark sky. Hannah looked down at her hands resting on the stone railing, then turned to me. "Lucas, when you were standing on that stage accepting the award, I remember the afternoon we first met outside the company building." "What about it?" I asked, taking her hand into mine. "I was so intimidated by you back then," she admitted with a soft laugh. "You were confident, accomplished, and completely decisive. I was just a plain student from the countryside who didn't even know how to order from an expensive menu. I kept wondering why someone like you would choose someone like me. Do you know why now?" I asked. She looked up at me, her eyes shining in the moonlight. "Because sincere hearts recognize each other." "Exactly," I said softly. "The world is full of people who trade conditions, negotiate boundaries, and keep backup plans. But what matters isn't what someone holds in their hands. It's what they hold in their heart. You gave me your whole heart, and I gave you mine." I reached into my suit pocket and pulled out a small velvet pouch. Inside was the old soda can tab from the night I proposed, preserved carefully in a clear acrylic frame beside a small silver star. "Look at this." I smiled. She gasped softly and touched the acrylic frame. "You really kept it all this time?" "I said I would keep it until we grew old," I told her. "It reminds me of the moment you chose sincerity over vanity." Tears of happiness welled in her eyes as she leaned into my chest, her arms wrapping around me tightly. "Thank you for waiting for me, Lucas." "Thank you for showing up, Hannah," I whispered against her hair. The city below us was loud and bustling, but on that terrace beneath the quiet stars, the world felt entirely still. I had spent years walking away from falsehoods and protecting my bottom line, not out of arrogance, but out of faith that genuine love existed. Standing here beside the woman who had become my greatest peace, I knew that every refusal, every goodbye, and every lonely step had led me to the exact place I was meant to be.